Hey everybody, welcome to Yellow Dog Farm. It's time to make a new intro. The tractor's the wrong color. We moved out here to the farm about 1.5 years ago, and we knew, of course, that we were going to need a new tractor, or I'll say a tractor. And we looked around, and just at the time we didn't really want to spend a lot of money. We knew that we didn't know a whole lot about farming. I mean, all we knew is, you know, tractor, start it, see what we can do to make it happen, and that was about it. So we bought our Kubota. It was a 70 horse. We knew it'd be big enough, and we had all the implements to help take care of the farm. Now here we are 1.5 years later, and we've realized that it was a good tractor. It had everything we needed, but quite honestly, it was really tough to get some support. Not because the Kubota dealer wasn't great, but they're more than an hour away. So even if we needed filters, it'd be nearly a 2-hour drive. And the John Deere dealer's just a few miles away, maybe 15 minutes at the most to get there. So that's what really started us looking at a different tractor. Just the thought of having to drive 2 hours to get the engine oil filter for an engine oil filter change was just crazy. So I don't know, these days if we have to leave the farm, we get really upset. So that's what got us thinking about it. And then we also decided, now that we recently expanded our farm, we've got a 12-acre field that needs planting, and our horse pastures every fall, at a minimum, we're putting ryegrass in, and we've been using just a broadcast spreader or whirlybird, and it's just not all that efficient. The seed's expensive, and we found ourselves wishing that we had done a better job. So we thought about getting a different seeder, and we found a machine, I'll show it to you in another video, that's a food plot planner. And so it's got a disc, seeder, the whole 9 yards that comes behind the tractor. So we went to the John Deere dealer to look at what they had there, and ended up coming out with this tractor. So I'll walk around it in a second. It is a 75 horse 5075E is the model number. It's the middle range. The E is the middle range, M is heavy duty, and there's another model, an R, which I'm not sure what the intent of the R is, but this is really something for a hobby farming situation like us. It's not something that you're going to put hundreds of hours on every year, that kind of thing. So we're happy to get it. And John Deere's really, and all the manufacturers have been working hard on developing 3-cylinder engines. That way you don't have to deal with the DEF system. So if you have over 3 cylinders, you've got to have DEF. So this tractor is 75 horse, no DEF system. Even just a few years ago, the highest they could go was 60 horsepower. And a good friend of ours who has quite a bit of equipment, he really recommended that we stay away from the DEF. It's just another thing to break. So that's what we did. Other than that, there's nothing fancy. There's no front hydraulics on it for a grabber or anything like that. So we'll think about that for the future. But I'll go ahead and grab the camera here and go around the tractor and point out the features of it. Pretty simple and straightforward. And then I'll kind of talk about what's different between the Kubota and this tractor. You know, things that I noticed right off the cuff once you hop into it. So here we go. So we got the 520M front bucket loader. Pretty standard, nothing fancy. Once again, no attachment for a grabber on it. And it's got a little different quick change system than the Kubota has. So the Kubota had two handles that you would grab right there in the middle, and you would flip them and go ahead and take this off. The Deere has a pin. I don't know how easy it is to see that pin, but maybe there you can see it. All the shadows are getting in the way. So you pull a pin on each side, get it on that hanger there, and it goes ahead and pops stuff on and off. So we've got a pair of forks for it. We found that that's just invaluable as you go forward, and you know, just being able to load and unload stuff that comes to the farm. Once again, 5075. Now it is a four-wheel drive tractor. I almost want to say all-wheel drive, but it works just great. We've only put a couple hours on it, just done a few things. So here in the coming days we'll get the bush hog on it and all that kind of jazz, but right now we're just admiring all this glossy paint. One thing that straight away that is just so cool, it's a small thing, but this thing came with the toolbox. So the first thing we noticed with our Kubota is that we had a bunch of, you always needed tools, you know, a hammer and some kind of a pin driver to get pins in and out, that kind of thing. No place to put them except for them to rattle around on the floor of the tractor. There were no storage bins or anything. So believe it or not, that was one of the things where I went, oh, okay, this thing's made for people that really farm. So that was pretty awesome. You'll notice that this has got a cab. We live here in South Carolina and it gets awful darn humid. So our game plan is we'll do chores in the morning around the farm, and then when it heats up we hop in and go run the bush hog or run it whatever implement we need. So super nice to have the cab. A little bit spoiled as we get older, and you know, why sweat if you don't have to. So that worked out real nice. And then you can see here the just putting fuel in it, no big deal, just pop that right in there. We're thinking about getting a real fuel tank with a pump to go ahead and put diesel in this thing, but right now we're just using cans, so we just don't put enough hours on it to need to be able to do that quickly. I'll come around here to the back, and one thing that you notice right away is that they've got a really handy way of handling the top tie for the 3-point hitch. That was always a hassle with our Kubota. It was always wanting to fall down. But the rest of it, just classic arrangements for the hitch. You can see it's got the adjustable arms down here to change the width for whatever implement you might be using. Once again, we haven't even hitched any implements to it, so no change there. And then one thing I'll point out too is those lights. Once again, a big lesson learned for us is there were days where we wanted to plant ryegrass where the temperatures were perfect. We knew rain was coming the next day, and we just couldn't even see with our other tractor. The lights were all beat up and had been hit by branches, mainly by us, so we couldn't use it. So this thing's got all set up. It's ready for running at night, and we're pretty darn excited about that. Really good color coding on the hydraulics, so you know what goes where. You can see the setup here, and it's color coded, and I don't know if you can see inside or not, but the handle there that operates those hydraulics has a green stripe on it, so you know what goes to what. And then here's the front hydraulics. Same thing, all color coded, really easy to understand what goes to what as it goes up here into the hydraulics for the loader. This is the battery compartment, really easily unpinned and pop open, so that is one thing that I've opened up and checked. But I would say for the most part everything's really easy to grab and handle, so very pleased with that. One thing you'll notice is it's got attachments for mirrors up here, right there, but there is not a mirror in it, but there is a rear view mirror inside the cab here. Let's see if you can see it. You can see the camera kind of pointing at it there, and that is fantastic because you can't hit it and knock it haywire if you're driving through brush. So we liked that a whole lot. So I'll go ahead and pop up in this thing and we'll take a look. All right, this part's pretty straightforward. So as you take a look in here, the first thing you'll notice is this little jump seat here. And I don't know about you guys, but we always got a grandkid, or we just had a small gathering yesterday, and Diane took a bunch of little kids for a tractor ride, and they really just love this seat, and there's normally nowhere for them to go. So we had to add it on. A lot of the tractors come with them now, but this particular model didn't, so we went ahead and had it installed, and it's just really a real slick way to go. So I'll go ahead and fold that up, and then we'll pop up inside. And you can see there it's got the seat controls for up and down right underneath it, and then the handle for moving the seat back and forth is right here just under the seat. And then you can see the hydraulic controls right here, and once again color coded so you know what's going to the back. And then if you look here, there's a connector, electronic connector, and you know, spaces for a bunch of toggle switches we don't have for other models. A cup holder and storage. And I'm going to sit down. This is the PTO control, so pretty straightforward, small. And then the hand-driven accelerator, throttle. Here are all the controls for the AC and heat. And then here's the radio. So it didn't come with the radio, we had to have it put in. And you'll see it's got a microphone there, so it lashes up to your cell phone, and then it's got a USB port, so we can go ahead and, you know, this is the next century, so we can go ahead and plug in our phone and charge it there. So when I backed the tractor out here to take a look and to record this video, Diane was on the phone and it actually lashed up to her phone, so you got to kind of watch that. Here's all the transmissions, so the different levels, A, B, and C. A is super slow, crawl. B is normal, and then C is for high gear, driving on the road. It's got a 4-speed transmission, and then I'll try to get here so you can see it. It's got a special gear selection for park. Here's the control for the bucket, and you can see it fits your hand real nice. And then it's all set up for if you had the grabber controls, which of course we don't have. It does have hydrostatic, so you can, you know, go forward and reverse here without having to use the clutch. Turn signals, I know that's a little tough to see, but you can drive on the road there. Here's the front lights, and then the windshield wipers on the other side. So Really easy setup, easy to understand. I know the sun's a little bright on the instrument cluster, but there it is. Fuel, RPMs, and then temperature, and then it's got a bunch of lights. I'll start it here in a minute and you can take a look at it. When we look over here to the other side, it's got a storage compartment. Right, so you can see it's got all the circuit breakers and another electronic hookup in there. I don't think I was supposed to open that. So that closes up. Cup holder, and then the kiddie seat. So I'm going to go ahead and close this thing up. And we'll go ahead and start it. Let me make sure this radio is off so we don't hear it. There's the ignition. There was some total of 4 hours. See all the lights cycled real quick there. And it's all ready to go, so I'll go ahead and give it a little more revs here. Get it over 1,000, or right at 1,000. And it's not warmed up at all, so I won't really drive around a whole lot, but you can see the bucket there. Kick the control to the right. You can see the bucket go down. To the left, it comes up. Pretty darn standard. So, you know, if you've driven a tractor before, it's no surprise to you what all the different controls are. And once again, you know, it just, everything fits right, works real good, and it's going to be a perfect addition to our farm here. So we're happy to have it, and the way we thinking about it is this is the last tractor we're going to buy. So we'll see how all that plays out. Anyway, thanks for taking a look at the new tractor, and I hope it helps you decide if you want one of these John Deere 5075Es.